Hi, everyone. Welcome to my monthly musing. I'm Sally Schweitzer from Healing Solutions, LLC. I am the founder of this organization, which is devoted to wellness and mental health. And I post a monthly live broadcast each month. This is my third one. And it's about the power of forgiveness. I'm very excited that folks have come to talk about this really important topic that I think is often quite misunderstood. When we think about forgiveness, I think for many of us it conjures up religious connotations, church, or people forcing you to forgive when you don't feel like it. And it feels to a lot of people like if you forgive someone who has harmed you, you're letting them off the hook. But in fact, that's far from the truth. Forgiveness, whether you are forgiving yourself or whether you are forgiving another person or a particular situation in your life, forgiveness is not for the other person. When you're forgiving another person or a situation, it's not for them. It's not to make them feel okay. It's not to say that what they did is okay. Because if someone really harmed you, it's not okay. And it will never be okay. But when you forgive, it makes it okay for you. And that's what needs to happen. It makes it okay for you. Forgiveness is not about the other person. It's not for them. It's for you. So you can think on that for a moment. And we'll talk about, I think, the best place to start when we think of this topic, which is with yourself. I think it is powerful to look at yourself and think about something that you feel guilty about, or some kind of envy or jealousy or anger or guilt or something that you're holding on to that you feel badly about, that you need to release. Releasing is another term that I think works better for some people than forgiveness. To me, they're synonymous. Releasing something that no longer serves you, and that in fact may actually be impacting your mental health, your physical health, and your ability to move forward with your plans and goals and dreams for your life. Letting go of something like that is the best thing you could possibly do. So as we begin thinking about forgiving ourselves, see if you can think of something. It could just be a little thing, or it could be a really big thing that you would like to release yourself from. Something that you feel that you don't want to feel anymore. Something that's taking up a lot of space inside of you. And you'd like to have that space be freed up for all the other dreams and plans that you have in your life. This is a great place to start with letting go, releasing, forgiving. So think a little bit about that and try to come up with something. It could be a word like jealousy or envy or anger or rage or any number of other things. This will be unique to you. So think about it and come up with a word. If, when you think about this, it is begins to make you feel really dysregulated and really upset, then try distancing yourself by giving it a different name. So if you're trying to let go of envy about a person in your life or a situation, you're trying to let go of that, you could say something about the situation, that I'm letting go of needing to be rich, right? And the envy is in there. Or I'm letting go of not having a vacation home and a big boat, right? So, but you want to come up with something small, a small phrase. So if it helps you to distance yourself by coming up with that phrase, then go ahead and do that. Or you can just say the word. And just hold on to that for a moment. And let me talk to you about how things are going to roll here tonight. After you forgive yourself, I'm going to want you to think about forgiving someone or something else, either a person or persons or a situation. Now, it may be something from your childhood. It may be something recent, maybe something that happened today. But I encourage you to think about a thing that is making you feel pulled down, that is making you feel like you can't be fully yourself. Something that has perhaps defined you in some way and everything that you do. Because when people really hurt you, if you don't find a way to let it go, it will define you. And if you hang on to it for years and years, it will shape your life and your relationships and everything that you do. And again, you are not releasing this to let that person off the hook. You are releasing this to let yourself off the hook. Now, I know that every single person listening to this has something that they need to release. Something within themselves, as we talked about first, and something outside of themselves that has happened to them. So in a few minutes, I'm going to give you a tool that I created and invite you to actually begin the process of this releasing. Looking to see who's here. I know Ashley's here, and she's going to put something in the chat that is the actual affirmation that I'll be using so that you can grab it if you want it. And hi, Leslie. Thank you. Nice to see people. Please say hi if you're here so I know who's with me. For those of you who came to the first two monthly musings, you'll remember that the first one was on sacred space and the second one was on mindfulness. And I see this third presentation, I see the things that I gave you to think about and the tools that I gave you to work with in those two presentations. I see those as being tools that you can use for what we're going to do tonight. I see them as something that you can bring with you into this work of release and forgiveness, of letting go of that which no longer serves. So if you were here for those two, you can think a little bit about that. In the first one, which was Sacred Space, I talked with people, and again, something that sometimes has this religious connotation and stuff, and that's not what we were talking about at all. We were talking about creating a space where you feel you can go and feel at peace, feel safe, feel like you're in the presence of something greater than you are, something that makes you feel good and calm. So we talked about how you can create a sacred space just by lighting a candle. You can create a sacred space by having a whole room devoted to, the things you love that make you feel calm and good and peaceful and safe. You can also have a sacred space outside, under a tree. You can have a sacred space in your mind, a place you go in your mind. But whatever that space may be for you, that is a safe, sacred space, I would suggest that if you decide to do this work, if you really decide to do it, because it's not a one-off kind of thing, it takes time. If you decide you're going to do it, that you try to do it in your sacred space, if you have one, or to create a space as much as possible. Because those spaces have a power to them. You walk into them and you feel different. You feel lifted. You feel as though something is holding you. And so you want to feel like that when you're doing this work. And then the mindfulness piece of things is always a good tool for any kind of work like this. And it's very hard to be present in the moment if you are constantly stuck with these albatrosses that you need to release. It's very hard to be mindful. But if any of you have worked on mindfulness or already were working on mindfulness, you know that as you practice that tool, it's really powerful in terms of seeing yourself through times where you may suddenly feel dysregulated or off-center or so forth. Sometimes just, touching your skin and reminding yourself that you're right here, right now, is a great tool to be able to use. Oh, I see Fred. Hi, Fred. Glad you came. So, what we're going to do now for our last 15 minutes is I'm going to give you this tool. Ashley, are you able to put the tool in the comments? And if so, that would be fabulous if you were able to do that. So I'm going to suggest that we begin with releasing ourselves from something. So I want you to go back and think a little bit about the situation you may have come up with earlier. Something you're feeling, anger, pain, envy, jealousy, any of those things. Have it in your mind. And then, if you're comfortable to close your eyes, that's the most powerful way, I think, to do this work. And I will walk you through what to say. This is a forgiveness affirmation for yourself. Get comfortable and close your eyes. And here we go. I release this from my mind. And you're going to fill in those blanks. I release this from my mind. I release this from my heart. I release this from my spirit. I release this from my soul. I'm going to do it 3 times. Take a nice deep releasing breath. Draw in. Calm and peace. Release what you're trying to release. And let's repeat it again. I release this from my mind. I release this from my heart. I release this from my spirit. I release this from my soul. And again, a deep breath in. Let it out, release it, let it go. I release this from my mind. I release this from my heart. I release this from my spirit. I release this from my soul. And after the third time around, we'll end with this. This no longer holds any power over me. I am free. Thank you, Ashley, for putting it in the chat. So, if this feels uncomfortable or strange, that's okay. New things often do. Growing often does. Hard, emotional, mental, and spiritual work often does. But the more that you do it, the easier it will feel. The more at ease you will feel. And the better you'll get at it. So if you're interested in continuing to release whatever it is you're releasing from yourself, I would recommend that you find a quiet space and 5 minutes at least once a day. You can do it as many times a day as you want. The more the better, but at least once a day. And say the affirmation that we just reviewed. Another way you can do it, if you're comfortable with it, is to look in a mirror right at yourself and do it. And that's not necessarily something you have to do, or it won't necessarily make it better or worse, or you be better at it, but it is a way you can do it, is to look directly at yourself and say, I release this anger from my mind, and so forth. Ashley asks a question. She says, is it possible to release something and still work through it? For example, if you release resentment, jealousy, or anger towards someone or yourself, but still work toward a healthier relationship, does releasing mean you no longer address it? No, it does not mean that. But you will address it from a different place. Because when you're just sort of holding on to it, you're not moving. Nothing changes. If you release it, there is the possibility for you to have freedom from it, and then for something new to happen in that relationship. Sometimes it's something you don't want to have in your life anymore. But if you do, absolutely you can do that. This is, again, it's this part is not a one-off either. Releasing doesn't mean that you no longer address it. So if you have a person in your life, and we're going to do this next, that you want to, or a situation in your life that you want to stop being so, stop being so angry about it, let's say. Doing this work allows you to release what you've sort of been holding on to, the part that you've been stuck on. Okay? The part that's been shaping you because you can't move past it. And once you do that, there is the possibility of movement and change in the relationship. I think everyone here knows that when you make it, if you're in a relationship and you change yourself, the relationship will have to change also. You can't change the other person, but you can change yourself. So that whole idea would be at work in this process. Does that, hopefully that answers your question, Ash. So now what I'd like to do is have you think about a situation, a person, people that you have been, something that's hurt you. It could be something from your childhood, could be something from your current life. But it should be something that you really feel you need to let go of. Because as you stop and think about it, whether you've thought about it before tonight or not, you realize it's taking up space inside of you. It's dragging you down. It's, trying to put out your light. And it's time to let it go. So have in mind a situation or a person that you'd like to release. And again, especially with this part, if you want to give it a name, and you'll know what the name means. It doesn't matter because this is your work. It's not anyone else's. But you want to give it a name, then that may help you to focus on and provide some distance from it, as opposed to saying, the name of the person, which may make you really upset every time you say it. Or, anyway, that's the idea there. Could be a name, could be an address, a town, could be the red house. I think you get the idea. So you could give it a name to pull back from the actual event or the actual person. So think about that just for a moment, and then we'll give it a try so you can see how it feels. And again, as you're thinking about it, remember that this is going to take time. And my suggestion would be, if you want to do it every day, as many times as you want to or can, to find a quiet and sacred space to do it in, and to remember that you can be mindful if you start to feel like you're, stepping outside yourself with all of this. Be mindful. Focus on your breath. Come back to right here and right now. Okay, so hopefully you've got something in mind. And we'll do this piece here. Ready? I release from my mind. You can repeat after me if that makes sense. I release from my heart. I release from my spirit. I release from my soul. I release from my mind. I release from my heart. I release from my spirit. I release from my soul. I release from my mind. I release from my heart. I release from my spirit. I release from my soul. This, insert your thing, no longer holds any power over me. I am free. Let's take a deep breath. Release a little more. I want to invite you to take a breath and try to draw up energy from below you, right up through your feet and legs, and energy from above, right down, and have those energies meet right in the middle. And then release. Excellent. Okay, so we're just about up here. I hope that this idea is something that some of you will want to work on. If it has brought up anything for you that you need to discuss, you can email me. You can call me. All of these things are on my website. Not my website. What am I saying? My Facebook page. My Instagram page also contains this. This is Healing Solutions, LLC. I am Sally Schweitzer. And if you need to talk to me a little bit about this, I would be glad to do so. So please, feel free. I want to remind you that I offer a 20-minute Zoom for people who are interested in being a prospective client. I have had several people come to me through this process to have that Zoom, and I have gotten several new clients, which is delightful to me. But truly, that's not why I'm doing this work. I'm doing this work because I feel called to, at a time in the world when we all need to be as strong and as well as we can possibly be. So I wish you peace, and I hope you'll come and visit me and see my daily doses. And the next one of these will be on December 20th at 7 o'clock. And I am going to do something a little different on that night. I'm going to have some live music and then a creative visualization to bring you all through, designed to bring you a feeling of sanctuary, safety, and peace as we go through this season. So much love to everyone. Take good care of yourselves. And I hope I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.